my channel. I'm going to be working on this potential section. I might just get this little bit done in WiPnChat, but I have the drills out for that next bit just in case. Alright, let's get my cover back. Grab your cuppa, grab your work, and let's have a bit of a time together. Alright, tea. Alright. I had a very short week at work last week. Sorry. We had the Queen's Bank Holiday birthday on... No, the Queen's birthday bank holiday, yeah, on Monday. And then there were office moves on the Thursday, so I was in work in... I think the boss called it active wear. Yeah, it was leggings and hoodie. Moving offices, and there was five of us. Yeah, 5 moving offices, and it was kind of like all hands on deck and desks being pushed back and forth and all of that kind of thing. So it was really good having the team mentality to move the bigger things like my desk, because with my back I ended up getting a new desk with workers' comp that is a sit-stand desk, and I did warn them that moving it, even though they were sliding it on its side, was going to be heavy, and I don't think they believed me until they actually did it. Leaving this delightful white trail as they had travelled the corridors on the carpet, and I'm kind of going, oh god. Thankfully it's on the back side of the desk. It's only on the very edge, and it actually doesn't detract from it whatsoever. But I did wonder how badly damaged it might have gotten in the process, but yeah, it survived. I'm mostly in. Well, I'm all in. I'm not necessarily mostly organised. Sorry, I've got to get somewhere not sticky to put that down. I had the lovely comments of, gee, I've come to the conclusion that you have a lot of stuff. And it's kind of like, yeah, right. I'm not commenting on you running your noisy little fridge in your room or, you know, stuff. And she's only new in the office, so she hasn't accumulated anything. And yes, I'm a hoarder, so it doesn't help. So, yeah, I have got a lot of crap. I would rather not have some of the crap. One of my colleagues actually said, if you haven't done something with the particular item for a year, maybe there's a kind of, you know, get out of jail free card that you don't have to do an update. Stop. You have done so much damage. She spilt a box of, like, a container of my drills the other day down the back of the couch. Go away, Sophie. And right now we're waiting for lunch, so she's going to be in a pooey behaviour and just fiddle with my toys. Go away! Go play with something else. Go. Go find your farmer. Yeah, I'm gonna get that. Ooh, where is that? Yeah. One down arrow is here. Now, remember on one of my previous WiPnChats, I said, make sure if you're doing this, because I'm working on this upside down, that you get your drills and you make sure the orientation is the right way around. Well, this is why it's important. There are a number of arrows in the Diamond Art Club symbol field, and there is a couple of these triangles with the sorry, I'm trying not to stick my elbow into the sticky bit. See the half triangle? Well, there's another half triangle in here. It's a different color. But if I had mixed those two up because of the orientation, I could have put drills down in the wrong place. So I orientated it in the right direction to make sure I had the right container. So there's your tip of the morning so far. We'll see what other tips and tricks I come up with. Oh, there's a Sharon? Did I? And there it is. Oh, there's a few of them. That's no worries. I might actually start getting rid of the T's. They're kind of up this bit, which means that I've got less to maybe stick. And this is why I hate the clear covers, because I kind of go with the flow with the lines, but it means that straight edges cause issues. But then it doesn't work for sections either, so it's trying to find a happy medium, and haven't quite got there yet. I have actually used leftover of this or torn bits and covered over a bit of the area. I don't know if that would be something that would work for you guys. Right, so that's work's full week next week. Oh, we went out for a work lunch on Friday. Pubs are now open to gatherings, and we kind of booked out the back room of this place. And I had, is it an Australian delicacy or a... Delicacy. Well, yeah, delicacy, okay. Is it an Australian thing or a Tassie thing, Parmies? My husband doesn't know, he's Tasmanian. I give up. So I had a chicken parmy. A chicken parmy is a chicken parmigiana, which is probably not Australian at all, it's Italian. But basically it's a chicken breast that has been breaded. It may have been flattened and spread. And I had one of, I think, a choice of 20 on the menu. And I had the Tassie, which has barbecue sauce, caramelized onion, bacon, and a fried egg. There were others, like there's a Mount Wellington, which is synonymous with our city, and the Mount Wellington has, I think, 2 breast fillets and a heap of other things. But there was so many choices, it was just insane. And I knew I wasn't going to be able to finish it, and they came with thick chunky chips. And well, Sleeping Beauty is off to the side. My husband's just saying that the mountain looks like Sleeping Beauty. There is actually an angle of the mountain as you go down the Huon direction that it's called Sleeping Beauty because it looks like the profile of a woman lying down. No, it's the face. Oh, God. Yeah, breasts. Right. He's being old man today. All right. Well, okay. Yeah. Right. If only you had the sound pickup and you could hear his quips in the background. I'm not sure if the sound picks up that well. It can actually be slightly amusing when he chips in, and of course you get his Tassie accent, which is apparently a bit of a thing. Well, I don't have a Tassie accent. I've just got the Irish accent.
Ask your Irish relatives. I think you speak Australian now.
Oh, this is true, yeah. My Irish family think I speak Australian, which is kind of true, but yeah. What has been happening? It's been a crazy week with the post. I have had all 4 of my Sophie and Toffee boxes come in from February. So February, March, April, May have all arrived within 2 days. My husband's going, what the heck, this is not on, because his post hasn't been coming in. He is an avid Ali purchaser of computer parts and likes putting in disputes when they play silly buggers with him and give him the wrong stuff. Like he ordered 5 parts on 3 occasions and they've shipped 1 part in 1 envelope on 3 occasions. So he's short by 13 pieces. Go away. So yeah, he's not impressed. He's raising disputes because the shipping was taking longer than it should have done, and everything. He was just, I thought, being a little bit unreasonable. But anyway, there was a 60-day guarantee, and he's pulling them on the 60-day guarantee. And he's got refunds on most of it. And yeah, sometimes the audacity of him is just quite mind-blowing. But anyway, it is what it is. But yeah, you sometimes get these horrible arguments from Chinese sellers going, no, you're wrong, or send us a video and show us that it's broken, or stupid requests. And he's kind of going, it's broken, it's not going to work. That kind of scenario. And it's like, oh, gold. So yeah, he gets quite cheesed off and comes up with some creative responses on occasions to these sellers, much to my chagrin sometimes. What else is happening? COVID has been eliminated from the state of Tasmania. Now, I know a lot of the other countries around the world are not so lucky to be able to say this. New Zealand is also COVID free. We were at the pub on Friday. One of the girls is particularly keen on following the COVID information. She had a few ouzos at lunchtime because it was the first time she'd been in a pub since March, whatever. And she came around the office yelling, "We're COVID free, we're COVID free." And she was, you know, legitimately thrilled that we are COVID free. It is a huge achievement as a state. Now the only cases that are going to be COVID are going to be the pulling no punches here, the assholes who bring it in who don't self-quarantine. She is a little up in arms that some of the people that we work with have an exemption and don't have to do the self-quarantine, so they're a bit of a risk. Nurses and other people, if you have an exemption, don't have to do that 2-week quarantine. Anyone else coming into the state does. You can quarantine either at home now or in a facility, which is a hotel, basically, which may or may not have any facilities anyway. I think if you're being put in the hotel, you're at the government expense. If you're at home, you're at your own expense. Just kind of stands to reason, I suppose. So that's where we're currently at. Our Premier hasn't made any decision yet about opening up the borders. He is actually standing fast against the Prime Minister, who is saying, get the borders open now. But Victoria is still taking off. Victoria, actually, scarily, they had protests last week, and there was a guy who was at the protests who tested for it, and they said he would have been contagious during the protests. And there was also a toddler diagnosed with it, so that scares the bejesus out of me in relation to Sophie.
The Prime Minister actually said, not open now, but set a date.
Oh, he wants a date set. My husband is correcting me. He says the Prime Minister is saying he wants a date set sometime in July. Our Premier is saying, yeah, we'll review it in July. But they've pulled forward some of the early release things. So we've got the pubs open. We've got... nightclubs are still closed. And other restrictions are still happening. So, yeah, we'll just kind of see how it goes. But being an island state, we are in a particularly good and protected situation than the other states who, you know, can have people drive into the next state, although there is state lockdowns. So yeah, there are still restrictions on the mainland, but they're not necessarily as effective. They're also much bigger. The population is huge in the likes of Melbourne, and yeah, it's still rife in Melbourne. So the first state that people will come from, really, is going to be Melbourne, Victoria. So from a point of view of Tasmania being the island, first jump is Melbourne and the further jump is up to Sydney. So if they open up the airports from Hobart to Melbourne, we're probably going to see more of an influx. So we're all a bit on tenterhooks, kind of going, yeah, open us up to anything but Victoria at the moment. We just don't want it here. So there is talk. Jacinda Ardern over in New Zealand, they are, as I said, COVID free as well, and they're talking now about opening up our international airport in Hobart again, and maybe having Tasmania and New Zealand have a bubble, effectively, going back and forth.
Except that the Prime Minister says, thou shalt open up to other states before you open it up internationally.
Yeah, but my husband was just saying, Scott Morrison is saying that we should open up to other states before we open up internationally. I don't think we should. If it's still spreading on the mainland, we shouldn't open up to the states, whereas New Zealand is free, and yeah. I don't quite know how that would work. I mean, just because they're COVID-free, do they then not have to quarantine when they come in? What happens if people were to try and bypass that quarantine by flying into New Zealand from the mainland to then fly here? So I think there'd have to be some kind of reporting that they've hopped from mainland Australia to New Zealand to Tassie so that they're quarantined. They would have to prove they're COVID free. It would be the other thing. Yeah. Oh, look, it's still a waiting game. We'll see how we go. But it's nice not to, thank you, know that risk is minimal. You know, we're still doing the social distancing, but if it means that employment can open up again, shopping can be reinstated, stores can, you know, start getting their businesses back, and we start then discovering what the fallout is of all of this. We have had a few restaurants close their doors. Not quite sure what kind of restaurants they are. We don't go out much, so it's not something that I would necessarily miss, but I have seen it on some of my Facebook groups that, you know, a couple of restaurants have closed. It's been in the news, although our newspaper locks itself down. It's all behind a paywall. It drives me nuts. Including a report that there was somebody who had visited Tassie from the mainland, lied about the residential status, and the article was behind a paywall. Now, during the whole COVID blow up, they actually said, okay, we won't put any of our COVID stuff behind the paywall. So I questioned this, and I don't know if it actually got released, but I'm Jack of the paper. It's our only state paper. Well, sorry, it's not our only state paper. It's our only south of state paper. And to have it behind a paywall for stuff that's really important to locals. So, you know, Hobart area, businesses opening or businesses closing or whatever it might be, just local interest, and it's behind a damn paywall, and you're kind of thinking, fuck's sake, you know, you're just after the revenue and you're a pretty shit paper as it is, but, you know, very frustrating that they're just after a buck and they can't even do the reporting properly in the first place half the time. It's just like, yeah. So if the paper was any good, I'd probably subscribe. So as it is, then I go hunting on alternative sites to see what I can get information-wise, if it's really that important. Sometimes it's just clickbait, and it's bad, including our national ABC news report here. Sometimes it's just clickbait, and you're kind of thinking, there's nothing in this, or there really isn't as much in the article as the header is giving. So yeah, it's interesting watching the media at work. What else is happening? Winter is starting to kick in. We were supposed to have showers on Friday, and it poured rain. I've never seen such heavy rain for what was supposed to be a shower. It was ridiculous. And I had washing on the line that was supposed to have been drying, and it didn't dry. So, oh, my husband's telling me I'm whinging. So, yesterday we had the most amazing weather, though, with what's called a Bridgewater Jerry, which is this freshwater fog that follows most of the river up towards New Norfolk. So we're just above kind of the top of this fog as it hovers over the low-lying bits of the land next to the river. So it was amazing, but it took a long time to actually get burnt off yesterday. The sun just didn't have the strength, and the breeze mustn't have been there to push it down. Normally it's there in the morning, and it gets pushed down the river at a rate of knots. You can actually see this thing billowing down the river. It's quite incredible to watch. But I was looking at it yesterday as I was in Mrs. Coffee's live, because my perch here has the water view that I think I've shown on another video. So got to see the you know, the weak blue sky that you get in the middle of winter. Not that you guys in the States have that at the moment, because I've heard that you were like 106 degrees in Tucson yesterday. That's like insane. So yeah, you're getting the complete opposite of our chilly mornings. It's dark when I go out and feed the pets. It's cold. Poor Mocha, when the sun does come up, he actually goes and lies up on the top of the garden so that he can get the sun on him to heat him up. He's, yeah. What is he? A snake? Yeah, something like that. A snake or a lizard? He's what? A reptilian dog. Yeah, he knows how to get the heat into him. He won't wear the jacket. I think I've already mentioned this before. He has eaten the jacket when I've put it on him. He actually ate 2 of them. So he's not getting another jacket. So it's like, tough. This is how you're going to be. You're not going to get one. Now, I'm going to get this one out of here. I had a go yesterday at my Dreamer Designs. Oh my god. I did a small section. I don't think I took a photograph of it or anything. Even having the photograph as a backup of the canvas, I can see why the canvas print is as shit as it is, because blowing them up to full size, they're still really, really bad fluffy symbols. It's insane. And for them to go, this is an awesome product, is just beggars belief, to be honest. I follow... Shut up! I follow some chick on Instagram who is a lot of Dreamer Designs. Can't think of her name now. If I remember when I'm doing my editing, I might stick it in, or I might hunt her down. It's kind of like Paint with Diamonds or something like that. She's got a couple of kids and mostly does her videos, I think, on Instagram. There's quite a few of them. And she has just done Colours of Life, which is the kit that I have, and she said the drills were perfect, the drills are good, and the canvas was perfect. I'm kind of going, seriously? Are you looking at the same canvas that I've got? It was just like, what? Yeah, I was quite bemused by the declaration that the drills were, or that the whole kit was as good as she seemed to think. And I thought, wow. I mean, I knew there was the whole, let's call it controversy with 1.0 when it came out. But I haven't actually seen... Well, I didn't have a 1.0 to go, you know, and call bullshit on what they were actually saying. So I've got 2.0 and I'm kind of going, holy cow, this is crap. You know, and I know one of my fellow Aussies was mentioning in the live that she was getting a 3-day migraine after each session doing her Dreamer design. I think she's got the same kit as me, Colours of Life. And I think she was threatening to scrap doing hers because of the migraines. And she also has the chart electronically, I think. But I'm looking at the chart and I'm looking at the colours and I'm kind of going, trying to match up where you're at is tricky enough because you can't mark the chart. It's just a JPG. So you can't kind of highlight sections or anything like that, which is, you know, which is fine. It's there and it's electronic, but you can't kind of use it like you would a cross-stitch chart. Way too big to print in any great detail. Like, it would be as big as the item. I still don't know if it would actually print well. Yeah, it was just... it was hard work to place the drills, so I limited myself to a particular section and just did my best. And if the colours aren't right, well, the colours aren't right, and hopefully they'll be close enough. We'll see how I go. But I did actually take... Oh no, what did I take out? I actually took out my custom to do just now, but when I was going through my kit... to like my cases. When I was going through those to pick what to do, I ended up just grabbing Galaxy, and I was like, yeah, I'll do Galaxy. This is a new kit for me. It was only unboxed last week, I think. But yeah, it's my first DAC square, so I really want to see how it flows, and I'm enjoying it. Squares don't work like rounds do by any stretch of the imagination. Diagonals just aren't a thing, not like the rounds, so I will work on doing that video that shows you how you can work your rounds with a multi-placer to do quicker placing. With the Dreamer Designs, I think probably because it's Chuck Pinson and it's so confetti heavy, I was only using a 3-placer, and even then I was putting a lot of 2s down. So this is certainly a little bit longer, and I'm using a 7. But yeah, with the diagonals, it's not a thing with the square. You can't line them up properly. So that will be a future video to come. I did think about doing cross stitch for this video, but I figured because I really want to get my castle finished, I'm doing really well with my castle, and I think I'm halfway done. You kind of think you're going to get further with cross stitch than you do, but I don't know how. I mean, okay. Our Stiachalong challenge that I do on the weekend, that has, I think M says 300 to 400 stitches in a weekend, and I get that done okay, but I think some people kind of, I think they must count them on Pattern Keeper or something if you use Pattern Keeper, and yeah, I have no idea how they keep track of their stitches otherwise. I'm just not doing that, but I just feel like I'm doing maybe 2 rows and that's all I can get done, so it feels like I'm only doing maybe 50 stitches. But I guess a little at a time. I put a request into the group because I'm not sure if I've actually seen this picture or not, but I have this idea in my head of what I want for the background of the castle, because I've done the steam coming out of the train. And the background of the castle, what I would like to do is have some clouds, black kind of streaky clouds, and then the moon coming through. It's kind of reminds me of the scene where the werewolf teacher, I can't remember which episode it was of the movie. No, Sophie, you need to finish your pizza. You need to finish your pizza. Get down. You need to finish your pizza. You're not getting Octonauts. I'm recording. Go. Ooh, look at this. That's a bit of a thing. Bit of a piece. Oh, anyway, yeah, the moon. When the werewolfy scene was up, they were doing the it was the transforming spell where he ridiculous, that spell. So there was the spider, I think, was turned into, no, he showed his weakness, which was the moon in the, oh my god, my memory of Harry Potter is getting terrible. They had the cupboard, and the cupboard was showing the different things, the fears, and it showed Professor Remus's weakness, which was the moon. Of course, you didn't know he was a werewolf at the time, so it was like, what the hell? And he made the moon into a spider on, or something. No, he made it into a balloon. Anyway, that scene with the moon and the clouds, that's what I'm after for the back of the castle. Long story short, I'm after a moon with, yeah. Good Lord. So, that's the image I have in my head. I don't quite know how to create it. So, I've put the shout out and we'll see where we go. There have been a couple of absolute whizzes in the group who have done backgrounds. There's one in the Magical Arts in the current chapter, which I think is chapter 3. And they have done a background in the grass. So they've actually put in grass where Stuart Cunningham hadn't put in grass, and it looks amazing. As I said, they've altered and changed an awful lot of the patterns to add bits, and you know, somebody's designed a monster book and all of that kind of thing. So I've got paper, I have got graph paper. I could come up with a design myself. It's just a case of coming up with the colours, which I'm a little bit stuck on. I could use Stitch Fiddle. If you are a stitcher, you may already be aware of that. I can use Stitch Fiddle and see if I can come up with a pattern there. And just kind of cobble together something that's a little bit rough. Yeah, we'll see how we go. But if somebody's already got one, I'm hoping that that request will help me out, because there are so many photos to go through now, and not everyone will necessarily have posted their progress because maybe it's off the Stuart kind of script a little bit, and they might be a bit kind of reluctant, but yeah, we'll see how we go. So yeah, thoroughly enjoying that. I'm trying to picture whether or not I remove my owl and put in a flying Hedwig with the invitation to Hogwarts on the top left corner, but I was looking at the back of the fabric the other day, and the owl is, it's a little bit involved, what I've already stitched in. It doesn't not fit, but it's not perfect. Maybe I could put a letter under its feet. I don't know, we'll see. So I might adapt what I've got. I need to do some back stitching, maybe to give it a little bit of definition on the wings and stuff, and again, not knowing my colours well enough, that will be fudged as well. So we'll see how we go. What else has been going on? So I've got my 4 Sophie and Toffee Sophie and Toffee boxes to come. They will probably be one a week until I get through them. Then of course you'll get some resin making, because there is the dipping resin for the flowers. So it looks like there's a particular dried flower that you can get. I'm not actually sure what it's called, but it's kind of like a white rice paper oval with a big seed in the center. They're gorgeous. They have this beautiful rustle and everything else. And there's some lovely other dried grasses and things. So I'll either do that, or I'll do a flower with lots of petals and then piece them all together. I'll need to probably get some florist wire. I think it comes with some wire. I can't remember what it comes with, and I haven't been peeking too much in the group at what everyone's doing. I know Fee got her kit the other week. I think of April or May. It's the squishy animals, where it's kind of like one of these. I bought these on a bit of a whim, and they're squishy. Well, I don't know if that's drying out. Anyway, this squishy resin is what we're getting in one of those kits. So yes, there will be play with that as well. Never ever used soft resin, like squishy resin, so that'll be completely different for me. I don't know how it sets. I have to just read the instructions, and I'll do it on video so that we can work through it together. And it's Fiona's fault, of course, that I've got Sophie and Toffee in the first place. So something completely different for me. I have really enjoyed working with the resins, and then COVID hit and all the kits just disappeared. I think I said, was it last week, that they cancelled on the website and then they reissued, so I'm not quite sure what went on, but either way, 4 arriving in 2 days is just all kinds of crazy. So yeah, mail systems. What else have I also got in the post? I've got another bag that I put my cross stitch in. It's a lot of floss stuff, actually. The bag that I've got the cross stitch in, I think there's another couple of project bags came through, and an everlasting tip. You may have seen Rachel with her everlasting tip a couple of weeks back now. She got it as a, might have got it as a gift, but she bought it from the UK store. I bought mine from Perth, from Nicole directly. She said it could take 4 weeks to deliver, and I think it got here within 10 days. I was completely baffled that it would take as long as 4 weeks, but that's what her post office advised her. So she just gave me a heads up saying, hey, it could be an age to get here. And I was like, it'll get here when it gets here. So that's arrived. I haven't actually taken it out. The everlasting tip is not the brass tip that we have in the single placer. It's a stainless steel. My only issue with that is going to be, if I use the everlasting tip, where do I use it? Because sorry, I'm looking for a 2 left over. I use so many of the single ends that you know, I use them on the back of the multis, and I don't have a favorite multi. Maybe the 7 is my favorite multi. The 5 is a pretty hot favorite. I need to actually file that down because it's getting a little bit long in the tooth, and flatten that. So yeah, we'll see where I go with that one. But I want it to be in a pen that I use fairly often. I haven't actually worn down one of these brass tips yet. I know some people have said that they have. It's like, how do you? Or maybe I'm just not that heavy-handed with the brass tip. Yeah, we'll see. So that's what I've got in my mail. I've also got a knit crate. I will probably open the knit crate and give you that on Tuesday, yesterday. Knit crate's always pretty exciting to see what yarn we get. The colours are normally incredible. The skeins are large, and yeah, I'm enjoying seeing what colours will come through. I may change my subscription from Anything Goes to the more muted tones that they do. I think it's Chill Out. I might get that instead of Anything Goes, just to maybe have colours that I can use together a little bit more frequently. I've got to put a back. I need to keep that handy. So we'll see how that one goes. We've got a lot of these. What else is going on? I don't know. Oh, next weekend we have our DP-a-thon. My time slot is midnight to 1:30 Eastern Standard Time. if you're up that late. I know we have some dedicated people who keep going through. I think you're crazy. So if you would like to join me in that, it is a charity run support this time round. The mid-year one that Marissa does has been a charity run or supported DP-a-thon. So my charity to support this year will be Australia Zoo, and you have a choice on Australia Zoo's website of adopting one of their animals, or if you go a bit further, you can actually adopt an animal that's supported by them outside of the zoo. So you can adopt an in-house animal, and if you were ever to visit, you probably would get to see your animal that you've adopted along with I don't know how many others. Or you can support animals that maybe get rehabilitated and sent back out. The reason why I'm choosing this is, well, one, I'm Aussie, and two, you know how we had the bushfires at the beginning of the year? Well, and Celeste Barber raised millions, absolute millions for this, for supporting bushfire affected people. Well, the big problem with that is the funding hasn't been released, and the funding was not allowed to be released. The High Court actually said this. They wouldn't release the funding to another agency. It was going to be the bushfire here and this thing here. I think it was the fire service, and that's all that could get the funding. But the question was actually, can another agency actually get it as well? And the answer was no. And a lot of people are saying, hey, you know, we're up here in the bushfires and we've all been forgotten about. So there's a lot of unhappy people, whereas the wildlife funding seems to have been released and is being used in the correct areas, and it's making a difference for the animals. They're getting rehabilitated. The carers are able to look after them and get them back out. What's his name? The Arlo, the koala. Sophie, please stop. Go and eat your pizza. Now, go and eat your pizza. So there's a lot of kind of media showing Arlo and that, so you get to see progress, and that's really kind of what I want. It's a bit of giving to the animals. You're not under any obligation, but I also think that some of the $50 adoption fees for some of these are affordable for an American, because I think they work out to being under 40. If you're going to be giving to a charity, you want something that either gives you a certificate or gives you progress updates on the animals, that kind of thing. It might be something that you would consider doing. A little bit like the seal rescue that Rachel did way back when she was starting to do her rescue training. So that kind of thing, you actually feel like you're making a difference in an area that, you know, matters. So that's what's going to be happening next weekend. So out of that, I will be organising some games. I haven't quite decided on how those games are going to run, how I'm going to get some prizes, but there will be prizes. There will be, well, there's probably only going to be a single prize this time around. It will be wildlife related, and I have done some research, and I know, again, sorry Rachel, I'm bandying your name about a bit. Rachel was having problems getting mail out of Ireland to the US. I have actually sourced Amazon, and they have got what I want on Amazon, so I'm not either sending it from Tasmania to get stuck in the pipes or anything else. So that will hopefully work out okay for the winner. But I need to do some purchasing to showcase what I'm going to get. So Sophie will be getting something, probably. But I need to go down to the shop and get that, just so you get an idea. It might not be the exact same, but it is going to be as close enough as I can. Hopefully these brands are big enough that they transverse the world. So yeah, that's the plan with that. So if you have any ideas for what I can do as a competition, hit me up. I have done the picture puzzles, so the word pictures in the past. There is a name for them and I can't think what they are. I actually did them with Crashly on one of her lives one day. Don't think they're rebus. Maybe they're rebus puzzles? Anyway, they're picture word puzzles where you kind of look at the word and it might have a double meaning. So split level might be level, but it's the word level, but it's done with a split through it. That kind of thing. I think it was one of the Amy's was an absolute gun at that one when I did that. Trying to keep score of who is winning is the bigger issue. So I'll see how I go with that. Yeah, trying to nut out, but yeah, we'll see how we go. There has been some chatter by some other creators. They wanted to do a giveaway and they were asking about verifications. What I will probably do for the bigger stuff, not the lives, but for the bigger stuff, is register people in advance for the giveaways. So you would need to be involved in that well in advance. So I'll start working up to that one, get my links organized, and we'll probably give you a bit of an update in each of my WiPnChats as to how to get on that form, how to pre-register, and also pre-register your choice. So if I've got cross-stitchers only interested in the cross-stitch stuff, that they just get in the cross-stitch prize pool, and you know, the diamond painters go into the diamond painting pool and all that kind of thing. So that's the general plan with that. I haven't been wholly happy with how Google Forms work. That could be me, operator error. The forms actually work, it's just that there is no notification saying, hey, you've got more forms. So you've actually got to go into the forms and find them. So yeah, that was a bit fiddly, something that I figured out last year when I was doing the premieres. I can't believe that I have to start thinking that it's, you know, Christmas premiere time rolling around again. Being June. Yeah, it's like the year is just rattling forward at a crazy rate of knots, dragging us all behind. Yeah, my husband just said at least it's not boring. I think a few of us could do with a bit of boring for a little while. There was a meme I saw on Facebook, and I don't get horror films really, but they were saying something about, you know, 2020's been pretty shit so far. Well, guess what? The rest of the year it's called Jason. And it was the mask from Jason, and it was like, oh yay. But that happens every year. 2020 has been particularly, you know, dramatic, overly dramatic. So yeah, I think we could all do with a whole pass on that one. Not quite sure when the DP-a-thon starts. It usually starts Saturday morning. don't have the run sheet yet. That will be released, I guess, when Marissa has a bit of a playlist. I need to get my live listed so that you can save the reminder if you're going to be up that late. So midnight EST is, what do you got? You have 3 hours difference, 2 hours difference across the states. So you know, any time between midnight and 9 p.m, give or take, across the coast. So if you're around, I would love to see you. I get a little bit nervous beforehand, and then it all happens and it just flies. It's a lot of fun, it's a lot of crazy, but yeah, it's good. And if I can organize these prizes, not prizes, the questions well enough, we'll have it flowing a little bit. So it could be that I've got to do some totaling after the live. We'll see what happens. I think last year, or last live, I actually dropped Jennifer into it at very short notice, and she started doing the totals for me. So yeah, we'll see. You know, we'll wing it, won't we? Actually, it was a lot of fun last year, or last time I did the giveaway, because Marissa ended up winning. She got her Aussie thongs for the Australia Day. That was, oh gosh, that was January. Australia Day for us is January. So that's when we had the last EP-a-thon. This one, if you haven't already joined in and you are a creator, there may still be some slots. If you haven't done a live before, it is preferred that you have got live experience, but if you haven't done a live before, I think there is an opportunity that you can do a premiere, especially for the small hours in the morning, so that you've got the online chatter still happening. So if you're keen and you want to learn, there is a group that we will help you with teaching you how to do streaming and all of that kind of thing. So yes, we will get you there. It's usually an awful lot of fun. Sophie, I'm busy. Down you get. Go and eat your pizza. Go and eat your pizza. No, you're doing a really terrible job at eating your pizza. Do not do that. Go and eat.
Come on. Pizza. Good girl.
Alright.
Pizza time.
Oop. Found 2. At least. These sneaky ones that come up around the back, and yeah. Alright. Not so many of those. But I am enjoying how the square is working. So that's good. Rounds are something completely different. They're awesome. Oh, here's another moan. My husband's probably glad because it means I haven't spent any money. But the releases this week on Diamond Art Club, there was 6 of them. There was Doctor Who, there was the Rio Jesus style Salvation, Waters of Salvation. There was the koi. I know it's not a koi, it's a samurai fish. There were the panther, although they called it a lion. It was a black-faced lion with this multicolours behind it. And what else was there? There was the fish, the Jesus. There was another Mandy, wasn't there? Oh yeah, the Doctor Who, 10th Doctor. There was the panther. Oh, there was the gorgeous treble clef. I don't know why they called it G clef on the website. It's a treble clef, the swirly one. They're gorgeous, and yeah, that was beautiful too. Anyway, I kind of knew that it was not going to be a hope in hell me being able to get one. and yeah, they were sold out by the time I woke up this morning. So a little bit frustrating that they're constantly sold out, but we'll see how we go. I was saying to a friend just this week that at this rate I will lose my membership because I haven't been able to buy anything, because I'm not willing to buy one box that's, you know, hardly ever in stock anyway, one box and pay for shipping when my normal habit has been to buy in bulk. So yeah, a little bit frustrated with that, but I know their stocks are low and we'll get there. It's just the waiting to get there, and because we've got so many new people coming in, it's like they're gone because they're only getting in small amounts. I don't know why they're only getting in small amounts. Maybe it's cheaper or easier to fly smaller amounts in from China just to keep ticking it over rather than the bulk that they used to get through. Don't know. I'm probably a little bit thankful that I'm not seeing the behind the scenes of that. I know we were kind of teasing Mrs. Coffee about the fish, and they do look like koi goldfish in the picture, but she hadn't got her sneak peek at that stage. But when she was on her road trip, Maggie was guarding the sneak peek, so we still don't know what she's got as her sneak peek. There's been a few this week. I did see Shine Like a Diamond had one. I think Donnie might have had one again, and there was a couple of others that were not the usual sneak peekers doing videos. So if you're interested, I'm sure the links will be on DAC at this stage, on their Facebook page, so you can actually see some of the gorgeous images. The lion, or the panther as I was calling it, I thought it was a panther being the blackface thing. The panther looked amazing with 2 ABs in it, but it was, you know, lots and lots of multicolours. Some new artists that we haven't seen before, I don't think. I'm not familiar with their names. Mandy had the 2, of course, being the Jesus and the 10th. Crashly showed her ignorance in Doctor Who by not knowing who the 10th was. She said it to Kerwin and he goes, oh yeah, and yeah, he knew all about it, and she's kind of going, what? That was funny. It's like, who doesn't know David Tennant in Doctor Who? Oh, he was the best. And then Mandy commented on either Diamond Art Club or the Crafters Anonymous group, saying that, yeah, it was in her faceless stage of artwork that she was doing it. She doesn't mind if people put a face on because it does look a little bit weird being faceless. I'm not quite sure how big the face is to allow for that. I don't know if it's going to look really stupid. It might take some mapping out to be able to give him maybe an eye or an angled nose or something. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see who gets it, who works it up, and what they do with it. Do they change it or not? So yeah, Mandy's certainly not threatened by people making any amendments to their pieces. And did you know she's having a baby? If you follow her Facebook group, or maybe, or a friend, yeah, anyway, she's having a baby. It's like so exciting. There's going to be a little Mandy, and yeah, can't wait to see the artistic stuff coming out. Sorry? Hardly. Yeah, no, I think it's all kinds of cool. Oh, she's moved the drills on me. It'll rip. All the purples in this kit, like seriously, so many purples. Could not believe how many purples when I unboxed this. There's a very holy one there, I'm not adverse to using them. I think they cause a bit of a feature. Or character. As my husband calls it.
What?
Faults. Character. I don't think that's going to work.
I mean, when they sell houses with character.
Oh, my husband's just saying, when they sell houses with character, yes, it's normally that there's certain things that you really don't want about this place, or something's broken, and it's colloquially called character.
And if a car has character...
Car has character, it's a piece of shit.
Yes.
Like a mine!
But there's more than one of that particular car made, so if there, let's just say there are a million...
Yeah, the PT Cruiser has character. They're weird.
No,
They're not
no,
cute.
A particular car as opposed to the entire model.
Oh.
Why would that particular car have character and the other one's not? Because it has a fault.
Okay, that's his theory. Anyway. Character is faults.
It's right up there with multitasking.
Yeah, he says it's right up there with multitasking. He says it's not possible.
Oh no, multitasking is possible if you're a multi-core computer.
Oh god. Now he's comparing multitasking with computing.
That's where
Oh dear.
Oh god.
Yes, unleashed a beast. He's... How many spans have you got left from my bridge to do?
Oh gosh.
You only halfway, or are you more?
More than halfway.
He's doing the spans for my light bridge in copper. And there's lots and lots of pieces lying around, so I don't know how close he is to building me a new bridge.
5 or 6
When I
spans
get...
and 2 bases.
Yeah, when I get my new bridge built, that's coming here, and then this grey one will go downstairs, which means that I'll have a room to clear out before we can do anything, which is depressing. Oh, he's got to rewire it. Okay, so it's not going to happen in a hurry. That's probably a good thing. But yeah, he wants to move the recording studio downstairs to allow for privacy, so that I'm not having to tell Sophie to bog off when I'm in the middle of recording something. But there are certain logistics that we need to sort out for me to be able to do that, and some of that would be being able to record it downstairs and then have access to it upstairs so that I can edit it, because I don't want to be stuck downstairs babysitting an editing thing that takes ages to whack through. And he's kind of going, yeah, it's easy. And it is. I just haven't figured out really how to share from my laptop to this beastie. So I know it's there. We have done it once or twice. There's a particular drive that I have to go. But yeah, he's got to make it idiot-proof for me to be able to go click, click, pick it up here, drop it there, that kind of thing. Because I share so much. I've got music, I've got slides. All of it needs to be cross-computer things. It needs to be on a network so that I have access to it all, so that I can either do an edit downstairs with my same intro that I use in every other video, that kind of thing. So that's my plan. Yeah, maybe this time next year it'll be a working plan. I don't know. I don't know how much of a hurry I am to go down to the computer room, because it is, you know, under the house, and it's a mess, and it's dark. Well, it's not dark. We need to fix the lighting down there as well, but it's a mess, and just crawling through skinny places and everything. It's just like, and it feels like it's going to be cold, and it's not. He's saying it's going to be snug, and anyway.
It's fully insulated.
He says it's fully insulated, and it's ventilated, and it's, yeah, it's just, I don't know.
It's got automatic heating.
It might be nice, though, to be able to have completely undisturbed recording privileges, to be able to say, I'm going to record, and go downstairs for half an hour, do a quick record, know that I'm not going to be bothered, know that my stuff is not going to be bothered, maybe more importantly, that I can, you know, have stuff on display, use different funky camera angles because the setup is going to be different or not, we'll see. Yeah, got to get more camera gear so that I've got duplicate stuff upstairs, downstairs, all of that kind of jazz. Yeah, fun and games. We'll see how we go. But maybe for resin work it would be good because it means that I can do a pour, leave it there, not worry about the fumes because I'm there working on it and then I'm walking away. And then I can edit upstairs. It can still be stinking out the room downstairs and, you know, don't have to worry about it. Unless, of course, my husband decides that he's going to be using it as well.
Doing dirty, fumy things in the production room. You can use the workshop for that.
No, he's saying I can use the workshop. Can't see the workshop at the moment.
Uh-oh. There is that. He does need your help.
Oh, he says he needs my help. I need to get paid a full-time wage to be at home. That's what it feels like.
Oh.
Yeah.
A lot of hard work, aren't I?
Yeah, he is. He's very much hard work. He's high maintenance, this husband of mine.
Oh gosh, you'll get me all upset in a minute.
Okay.
Bye.
I'm gonna do the ABs.
Hey.
What happened to the bath?
Yeah, that we'll find out later. Sure.
I'm sure we won't. Anyway. She's a tired little pumpkin. I don't know how many times she woke up last night. She took ages to go to sleep. Kept getting up. And then woke up through the night and had to get tucked back into bed. And it was just ridiculous. Yeah, so here we go, ticking along. I'll get this done. Had a couple of moments of family, well, it wasn't family crap, it was just one particular family member crap. But anyway, that's a different platform perhaps. Ooh, I think that was a non-AB there. Gather up some more. Chevron, chevron, chevron. There's always one little sneaky that you miss because it's snuggled in behind another one. There we go. Three. Oh, these ABs are so pretty. They're so blingy. Look at that shine. Isn't that incredible? I can't wait for my Tina mail to arrive. Really looking forward to that. I got a message from my postal service saying, hey, we have a parcel for you. And we'll give you an idea when the tracking, you know, where it is. And I'm kind of thinking, okay, that's great. But the parcel number that they allocate is nothing to do with the parcel number that I was given on tracking. So I don't know what the hell it is. It's potentially a knit crate, or it's potentially a Sophie and Toffee. Because Sophie and Toffee often seem to come through this channel and it's like, oh, is that all? Yeah. It's a little disappointing that it's a subscription box, but it gets, you know, flags and bells and whistles and everything. And it's like, oh, okay. Don't know where that was from. Anyway, more mail. I have still got some Diamond Art Club to unbox. So there will still be plenty of stuff that you will get to see from there. I'm getting used to saying, you know, put your email in if it's not in stock so you get the alert that it's back in, because they are restocking on a constant basis. I did see somebody's photo on the group, one of the groups, of quite a poor print of symbols from DAC, and I know that's not normally the case. It was, to quote the person who had it, it was as if the toner was running out. They actually made a really good point that that's exactly what it looked like. So yeah, it was interesting, and I can't remember what the solution was. Diamond Art Club are usually very, very good in a working solution, and I don't recall if I saw them respond or not, because they often do. Here we go. Now, how much longer? Alright, I might be able to keep you going to get this section finished. We are having roast lamb tonight for Sunday dinner, as we typically have a roast every weekend. My husband was very big on having it as a routine. We didn't have the kid last week, and I think we had the pizza on the Saturday, but Friday night we needed to take the roast out of the freezer, and neither of us had gone downstairs on the Friday night to go and get the roast out of the freezer, and it was like, okay, so we haven't planned the roast. And then I think we ended up having a steak for dinner on the Sunday night instead. But there was another night and we're kind of going, yeah, what are we going to have? I think we ended up with takeaway one night, and my husband's kind of going, this is why we have routine, so we don't need to think about what's for dinner. And there is a point, excuse me, in having routine, but it does mean that you're slightly less spontaneous.
Oh, we could be spontaneous. We could have pork or lamb.
we could have, yeah, pork, lamb or beef. That's our spontaneity. But yeah, lamb is on special this week. It's down to like $11 a kilo, and it's like, wow, yay, get all the legs of lamb. Because we do all enjoy it, but the kid is still picky. And she's kind of going, you know, she'll give her food and she'll balk at it and then won't eat it and then start doing silly buggers, and then just makes dinner frustrating. So we try and make it slightly easier while still challenging her not to be Miss Fussy Britches. Sophie, of course, has not eaten any of the burger that we've given her yet. Speaking of Fussy Britches. And I'm kind of thinking, she loves meat. She's a meat eater, but she hasn't actually eaten the burger to give it a go and kind of go, oh, I like this. The pizza, she normally just eats the topping off it. Sometimes she'll eat the base, but more often than not it's just the top. She'll peel the cheese off, and she actually eats more of the pizza pre-cooked than she does post-cooked. She'll stand on the end of the kitchen and she'll be, you know, picking off the cabana, and she'll pick the mushrooms and start eating them raw, and yeah, things like that. She's and she loves olives. Olives are a huge favourite of hers. Now here is that into the pinks, so these tricky triangles. So I'm just going to go down to this bit of hair there that I've got marked out. Sorry, need to give them a bit of a wriggle, get them in. Oh, what were we watching this weekend? We watched Mission Impossible. The 2015 one. I didn't know Simon Pegg was ever in Mission Impossible. He was really cool. I was quite impressed. Then we've got We watched another oldie. Oh, we watched Gattaca. That was weird. With Jude Law and Ethan Hawke and who'd he marry? Who was the chick? Anyway, he married her off this film, and trivia told me that they had 2 kids and then divorced 7 years later. But that was a genetically deficient man, wanted to go to space, and he bluffed the system somehow by recruiting some guy to help him, give him his DNA and his blood, and they worked out how to do the blood prick on the it was almost like a subway ticket booth. So he had this fake blood patch on his finger, so when it put on the pad it would prick through and it would get this dude's blood. But he was supposed to have died from a heart condition, and he didn't. Yeah, statistically he was written off, you know, because they were measuring everything by genetics. He was born imperfect by...
No, what I'm saying is, statistically, he was more likely to have a heart attack at a certain number of beats.
Right. Okay, so statistically he was meant to have a heart attack, and going to space would have made it impossible for him to function or something. Anyway, the chick in the movie also had this heart condition, so she, you know, resigned to her fate of never going to space, but there was a few people who would cover up for him. The doctor said he was a big fan, his son was a big fan of his, and he covered up for him on a urine test. His brother ended up as a policeman or something looking for him. I think he either drowned, or we thought he drowned back in the beginning, but then it turned out it was his brother. I missed a couple of bits of it. So there was some of that. There's some big name actors in the movie though. It was really kind of cool. For an old film, it was 1980s? No, not 1980s. No, I can't remember when Gattaca was. 27 years ago. Not the 80s, 90s. But yeah, the special effects were pretty cool. Yeah, it was a cool film. If you have access to it, watch it. It's not really space oriented. It's more the plotting and the planning, and Jude Law was actually playing a wheelchair bound guy who stepped in front of traffic while he was sober. I don't know if he was trying to suicide or not, but yeah, that was a little bit of a interesting story. He was kind of given renewed zest for life by the character needing his DNA and his blood. They got on really, really well. But it was just the whole faking the new personality, having all this on the system, and yeah, it was quite cleverly done as a story, with what they faked and how they faked it, and the hair. So the main character couldn't shed any DNA or anything of himself that could be traced back to him. He was classified as an invalid, and for him to be dropping hair or skin or anything else would have caused major issues in this whole plan of attack. And yeah, they found his eyelash at the scene of the director's death, and that caused all kinds of issues. So then the manhunt really kind of cracked down, and they were kind of going, no, we've got to find this guy. And I don't think the brother cottoned on that it was him because he was going by a different name, but the face maybe would have matched. And I don't know if the brother actually recognized him from his face. I got the impression not. But there's a scene towards the end with the brother that was quite pertinent to the story, and it was the guy's attitude to having the heart problem was pretty much that he was never going to be dictated to by his problem, that he challenged his brother to swim whenever they had major issues. I think it might have been either a river or a lake, or maybe it was the sea. Where? Okay. No, there were waves, but there was a destination, so it wasn't necessarily. Anyway, at one point in the story, the guy is saying, "How do you do this? How do you do this with a heart problem? You know, with the condition kind of thing," implying, you know, how do you keep going? How did you overcome it? How did he beat the brother? And he goes, "I never swim planning to get back." So he puts everything into the out journey and leaves nothing for the return. Whereas his brother was saving energy because he had to get back for the return leg or something. That kind of mentality. So yeah, really interesting that, you know, he wouldn't let the condition beat him. He wouldn't let his brother beat him. Yeah, we watched his genetically perfect brother. Yeah, he was a faith baby, I think they termed it. In that mother, father had sex, conceived, had a baby, and when they found out that he wasn't so perfect, the movie actually opens up with them in front of the doctor, and the doctor is going, yeah, you could choose this, and it was like going to a supermarket and choosing all the components to make your baby. And they're going, no, we just wanted to make, you know, have them healthy, but then leave the rest to chance. And he's kind of going, but why? You know, the whole ethics and, you know, choosing genetics and that kind of thing. And, you know, it's very futuristic. It was, I'm not quite sure if it gave a year. Did it give a year? No, the year it was set in. I'm not sure if it gave a year that it was actually set in. But it was, yeah, it was an interesting movie, kind of thought-provoking. And he still beat the odds. He was still smart as a whip, just because he was physically maybe deficient in his heart. Didn't mean that he wasn't capable of going to space. Or there was physical limitations. But, yeah. Interesting movie. I did enjoy it. We watched Ender's Game last week. Again, Ender is used by the military. They actually, I think the Navy SEALs are told that they're to read Ender's Game, or some arm of the US military are actually given this to read. It's a series of books, but it is only one movie. The movie itself was a bit of a flop, probably because the adults didn't quite get it. Yeah, you get some writers like that, and the movie makers really don't get what the writer is after at all, and then the viewers don't get what it's after. Anyway, it's an awesome movie about tactics. It's about getting the target over the line together rather than the team. You know, it was all strategy. It was really, really cool. And my husband hadn't seen it. We've probably had it in our collection for quite a while, and he's never seen it. But yeah, that is a very cool movie, and it's kids. And I have read the book. I think I probably struggled a bit more with the book, because you're looking at the TV, and you're seeing kids, and you're kind of treating them a little bit still as if they're kids, but in the book the kids are actually not childlike. They're actually like superhuman, super smart for their age. They're beyond child, and this is why they're used in the game, so to speak. Harrison Ford's also in it. He is the commander, and real thrill was that Ben Kingsley was in that as well. So if you like those movies, he is a weird, weird dude. He plays some wacky characters. I must watch Gandhi again. I probably watched Gandhi when it first came out, like within the first couple of years of it coming out, when it was free to air on TV. And I probably didn't quite understand what I was watching back then, but I would love to watch it again. John Malkovich, he's another weirdo. He plays some seriously wackadoodle characters. We did watch him in a recent movie. What was that? No, that wasn't Pineapple Express, was it? It was a druggy one. And yeah, he was another crackpot. Yeah, funny, peculiar actor. I saw some friends posting on Facebook Basil Fawlty, because apparently the Fawlty Towers episode with the Germans got axed by the BBC. And I thought for a second, oh please tell me John Cleese is not dead, because we could really use with some Monty Python humour around this time of world crisis shit. And no, apparently it was all to do with this BBC pulling the episode, and they said, okay, we screwed up, it's going back on, calm down people. So yeah, that didn't go down too well, because it was all supposed to be talking about, you know, the Colonel who lived in the era of this whole racial crap, and, you know, the Germans were doing this, that and the other, and it was all supposed to be very tongue-in-cheek, and, you know, it was all taken to the extreme. It's, yeah, so that's been reinstated, so that's good. Funny, the whole political correctness. Don't quite like it.
You're not whinging again.
No. Oh, she says I'm whinging again.
No.
But we could really, really do with some wacky British humour right now.
Well, yeah.
I'm not sure what's going on with
There's
TV land, but the Brits have a brilliant outlook on depressing shit. There was actually some footage from David Tennant and what's her name? Not Kathy Yates. Catherine, who played Donna from Doctor Who. They often do comic relief stuff together, and they did a skit on TV or YouTube or something just recently, or it's an online series I think my husband found that they have done, but they're clever. The comic relief stuff is quite clever. The British humour I get, maybe that's
Bye.
mainly the thing. Oh, my husband's leaving.
Bye.
The heckling is going.
Miss you.
Uh-huh. Oh, he's cheeky. But yeah, I think I need some British humour. Maybe I should watch one of the, oh gosh, what's her name? Bridget Jones. Maybe I should watch one of her movies. Just to... Oh, we have The Kingsman. We were going to watch... We did kind of glance over that. The Kingsman's okay. It's got Colin Firth. A lot of people like Colin Firth. I'm not a big fan. From a, you know, sex idol point of view. He's okay. But, yes, good movie. But English, and... yeah, that could be okay. Might watch The Kingsman later. For my British humour and umbrella jokes and things like that. I think each country does have their own particular slant on humour. And me being brought up Irish English TV, the English stuff, yes, very much have an affinity with. The Irish stuff, not so much. No, I can't say I'm an Irish humour fan. There's some maybe that I do like, but I think I prefer the English humour. And it is very much a cultural thing. You could probably take English culture around the world and other cultures would be going, what's so funny? And I know I certainly had that issue with my ex. He'd be cacking himself laughing. Cacking would be shitting himself laughing, kind of. Yeah, anyway, it's a term. He'd be cacking himself laughing and I'm going, how is that funny? Benny Hill, I didn't get. Benny Hill, the slapstick stuff, hated slapstick. But clever humour, yeah, loved it. And there was a lot of clever wordplay or visual play. He would get Blackadder and stuff. Nah, didn't really get into Blackadder, but Monty Python's fun. I don't know, is it a guy dressing up as a girl kind of thing? I don't know. Pantomime. I don't think we went to many. Oh, did I go to many pantomimes as a kid? I'm not sure I did. I went to Gilbert and Sullivan plays, musical theatre, but didn't do much of the whole pantomime thing, you know, it's behind you, and Punch and Judy. I hated Punch and Judy as a kid. Absolutely hated Punch and Judy. I think it was just the nasally Punch kind of, you know, and that whole endorsing family violence crap. Not really. I wouldn't have known back then. But the whole, yeah, squeaky voices. Yeah, didn't like the squeaky voices. I had a squeaky voice in one of the kids' cartoon, not a cartoon, kids' shows. It was a puppet called Bosco. Oh, if you ever have a chance to look up Bosco on YouTube, take it and be warned. It's probably on the ilk of Elmo. Elmo shits me to tears. Absolutely hate Elmo and her squeaky voice. Ugh. So I won't let the kids watch Elmo. So hopefully that will never become a thing. I've told you about the quizzes that we do at work on Fridays. Well, we've been doing these quizzes. One of the guys, when we had the lockdown happen, he took over and started doing the quiz, and that was all online. These are now back on paper because we can have the gatherings. Well, this week it was bears was the visual topic, and you had to identify bears in different media. So there was a lot of cartoon, because cartoon bears, and the general score was given. And what were the other topics? The other topics were, James Bond was the first topic. I bombed on that. And you had to be not just fast, you had to be correct, but you had to be fast. So the problem being that I'm kind of thinking of the answer and my hand isn't going up quicker than somebody else's. Somebody else gets chosen first. You know, even though you're correct, you're not necessarily fastest finger first kind of scenario. So yeah, bombed out in a few of the James Bond questions. I did get Goldfinger question correct. Woo! Yeah. Can't remember what the next one was. Space, maybe? Something like that. I think there was a question on planets. You know, and there's a couple of my other colleagues do really strong on that kind of thing. One of the girls is super, super fast on political stuff. Literature was one. And one of the girls was just acing that one because she was being teased that she was classically trained. I can't remember if she was classically trained. I didn't interview her, but whereas the boss may have known this because he had interviewed her. So we had 16 bears on a page. And you had to identify the bears, so it was things like cartoons, so Yogi, Boo Boo, Smokey the Bear, things like that. And I think I got most of my points from that quiz. So I'm not doing very well on the whole first to answer kind of stuff, but I'm doing well on the other stupid inane knowledge. Yeah. Why is it you store this stupid knowledge in your head? It's very disconcerting. I did really well on some pub quizzes because I knew weird stuff. It's like, why do you need to know the thing? Oh, it was funny. One of the guys was actually doing a presentation and he said, and I'll take 3 questions at the end of it. And we're all kind of sniggering. And he does this presentation. And then he goes and asks for the 3 questions. And he must have set up the people to ask the questions, because one of the questions wasn't relating at all to the topic that he was doing. And I'm kind of thinking, I've got a wacky question. Of course, in my head, I thought I had the wacky question. The chipmunks behind me, though, chipped in going, at the end of the 3 questions, realising that this was all a setup with the 3 questions. With the question being, what's the airspeed velocity of an unladen sparrow? Or swallow. And it was funny because Amy Hoffman in the Stiochalong last week had set up a QR code that she'd stitched as part of her 20 by 20 challenge. And that then led to a page where you had to decipher a Caesar cipher. So, code breaking. No, how did you know it was a Caesar cipher? You had to do something. Oh, yes. There was a code that you were given with the Pigpen cipher, which is the one with the squares, the kind of chevrons, and the dots. So you've got the whole alphabet laid out with the Pigpen cipher. So I recognize that from my geocaching days. And needed to go from that into the next puzzle, and there was a couple of pictos at the end. So this picto, you had to rearrange everything to make the picture, and I got stuck. And I got stuck on this for all of last weekend. It was doing my head in. I eventually was sending messages to Amy on the group saying, look, this is wrong, woman. You're going to sleep, and I'm here thinking about this while you're sleeping. It was really quite funny. It was really tongue-in-cheek. There was another girl in the group that also had done geocaching, so she nailed the first 2. The last one, and I'm kind of going, I can't make head nor tail out of this. And eventually Amy woke up and she said, hi, do you need some help? And I was like, oh my god, girl, what have you done for this last one? And she goes, oh, it's not a cipher. And I was like, ah! I can't believe this! So it wasn't a cipher after all, it was a cross-stitch thing. So, yeah, the last one was a cross-stitch, and it turned out to be, so I put it into Stitch Fiddle, and came out with the word that she was after on the last page. But, as I was getting there, the last question on her page was, what is the airspeed velocity of an unladen swallow? And the answer was either European or African, and it was like, oh crap, you're brilliant. It was a lot of fun. So yeah, she had this prize giving at the end. I actually need to go back on the post and see who won. It wasn't me, but yeah, a lot of fun chasing down these ciphers, and it was cool. So yeah, enjoyed that. So yeah, puzzles, things that make me think, yeah, definitely pretty good. Ooh, where did you... I've knocked a pink, but I'm not seeing where I've knocked it from, because all of these colours make sense. Interesting. Maybe it was loose. I've got a bin here that my husband printed, and it goes straight across the bottom and then it's holes, so things fall out. So it's not quite as clever as I...
Was that a complaint?
I need you to redo my bin.
What's wrong with the bin?
Well, you don't have a lip, so it falls out the bottom holes.
What falls out the bottom holes?
The drills, because they're too small, so they come out the holes on this.
Oh.
I know. Either that or I just need to reinstate my cover minder, which is actually a washing trough.
Bin bags?
Yeah, you can print me bin bags when you get the flexible...
No.
No.
You could get your own plastic bags, cut them up and put them in there.
They're too big. Really? Poor service here. Really, it's a bit slack.
Well, speaking of poor service, where's my heat shrink?
Your heat shrink?
Yeah.
God knows.
Big bag.
Probably on the couch.
There's some of it there, but...
And I keep tripping over it in the
No.
right-hand side of the chair.
That's a random stream of it. That's not the whole bag.
It's a random stream of everything. Other side of the couch? You know, the part that we never go to?
Hey, this thing. No,
Because I can't pick where he put it.
no.
It's crazy. He'll actually send me a text at work going, do you know where this is? And invariably I get the right place. It's insane. I'm kind of going, I'm not at home. I'm, you know, busy or something.
Or even more often, as soon as I ask you where it is, I find it anyway.
Yeah. And then there's the other thing. It's called pattern recognition. He was looking for the spray bottle this week to be able to spray the bread rolls that he was making. And I said, it's on the counter. It's in the middle of the kitchen counter. And he goes, no. And then he looked again, going, yeah, pattern recognition is off. And he found it because it was lying down. Because then he was trying to think of alternative methods that this bottle might appear in.
See, this is where multitasking doesn't work. I can only look for one thing at a time. I can't look for a bottle that's lying down at the same time that I'm looking at the
Yeah,
bottle
so you
that's
can.
standing up.
Okay, so let me translate that. He can't look for a bottle that's standing up. Sorry, lying down at the same time as looking for a bottle that's standing up. See what I live with? Dear. Save me, people. Yeah, it's pretty bad. That's what you get living with somebody with a brain injury. No, that's mean. No, it's actually probably true.
Well,
But it's still mean. Yeah, too many blows to the head, he says. All right. Oh, God. Yours or your mum's. Yeah, she would never touch drugs.
No.
My goodness, that's complete sacrilege. Oh.
I think she didn't know what a cigarette looked like.
Oh, gosh. All right, I am done. You're probably done too.
A woman who doesn't use the words bloody or shut up.
Yes, she doesn't swear at all. And then I go and marry her son, and yes. Oops. I had to apologise before I swore before her in the first time. Yeah. Anyway. Alright, I am done. I'm going to roller. Hear that lovely click? Oh gosh. But they're down and they're smooth and they're staying down despite being rolled up, and it's just like, oh, this is how square drills are meant to be, not like my other kit. Gosh, look at that. I love how... Okay, let's get the tea out of the way for a second. This side here is the same background as here, and I love how you think that there's stuff on the canvas, and what I'm finding now is it really does pop when you finish it. You kind of think, the canvas is telling me the whole story. It really isn't. And it was one of my hesitancies, I think, at going for Diamond Art Club because of the clear cover in the beginning. Because it was like, but I can see what the picture is. I don't want to see what the picture is. I want a surprise. Look at that. That's chalk and cheese, really, in comparison. And you've got the shimmer of the squares, and then you've got the extra shimmer in the white in the 141 ABs. So yeah, it has made me do an about think with Diamond Art Club. It's good when you've got maybe so much of the symbol and less of the background color, because then you really see the kind of thing brought to life. You can't probably see here, you can see the bottom of God's hand, but it looks like an image as opposed to looking like a canvas with, you know, this kind of crap on it. Like these white freckles, they're all the ABs, so the pink then will just pop. Yeah, anyway, just my take on the difference between canvas and finish. And yeah, and you can see the sparkles through here. There are white sparkles down through the bottom here. These white sparkles through the darker hair are really going to ping and going to look amazing. So yeah, completely different when it's all done. Alright, look, I have talked your ears off about all sorts of stuff, including my husband telling me I was whinging. I do apologise if you think I was whinging. No, I need to roll that the other way now, not that way. I'm going to have to turn this the other way around. The beauty as well of poured glue. Or, yes, poured glue, that you can roll canvas both directions. But yeah, I need to keep these on the outer so that they hold. Put my toilet roll. High-tech trickery here. I was talking with Jen, during the week. She's trying to work on a lap table on her bed because she's stuffed her knee or it's post-surgery or something. And yeah, you make do with what you have. So yeah, that's exactly what I do. And I use toilet rolls just to give that very light compression. And then these, someone's not happy. These go into, that really isn't happy. Why are you not happy? These go into a roller. Not a roller, sorry. These go into every moment tubes, kind of packing tubes, to be stored in between being worked on. Oh. Maybe I've got it. It's because it's going over the diamonds. When I get to a certain point, I'll probably start trimming it or something. I didn't do that the last time with one of the others. I think I ended up using cover minders just to keep it in place. Anyway, look, I'll let you go. Thank you very much for joining me. It's the next part of the series. Well, you would have had that on Monday. I will do a knit crate video shortly. And you will have the knit crate video on the Tuesday, the WiPnChat on the Wednesday, and I have a Diamond Art Club unboxing on Thursday. We have a Frivolous Friday, subject to morph when I do the dot to dot, and I have Sophie and Toffees coming out my ears. I have to work out unboxing them and showing them. As I said, I won't be flooding this the stream with Sophie and Toffee, but I will show you what I've got. But lots and lots of stuff to show you in the future. And yeah, we'll just keep ticking along, and I'll see you in the next video. Please join us on the live for the DP-a-thon. If you can join us for one video or all of them, choice is yours. There will be playlists. I will have them, they will be scattered through all the different Facebook groups. I will have my live scheduled, and I will also have the playlist saved in my playlists. So if you go into my video and you see that it's part of the playlist, if you haven't got it from somebody else's channel, if you click on the playlist and save that playlist, and then you click on the first video when it goes and you're ready to actually see it live, it will automatically take you into the next video and into the next video and into the next video. If we don't have any glitches, it will just go smoothly. If there are any glitches, there might be links in the previous video, and Marissa will patch together that playlist. So it is a brilliant system. It does still work with the lives when you have them and you have automatic play on, and it goes, just takes you from one to the next to the next. So it's like a taxi taking you to the next zone. So please join us next weekend if you're at all interested in joining along for the DP-a-thon. They are a lot of fun. It is charity orientated, so you will learn some stuff. No doubt Marissa will be doing her St. Jude's charity again, which is the hospital that she is part of funding. I'm just looking at my cover minder and I need to maybe heat it or something. Its head's coming apart. So yeah, you will learn lots and lots. I will hopefully have a lot more information on my wildlife that I want to support. And yes, and there will be a prize giveaway for some fun stuff that I'm going to do on that. And yeah, we'll see how we go. Alright, take care. Bye for now. I will see you around on my other WiPnChats each week. And otherwise I might see you on my live. Bye.